Happy Thursday and welcome to the Early Edge. Everyone in here is already saying we are a certain player days away from NFL season. We've got 2 preseason games today, but we're Darrell Green days away. That's 28 days away. Curtis Martin days. Put your favorite 28 in the chat. Thank you, Matt, for shouting out Darrell Green. Let's see how we did yesterday before we bring in the stars of the show. Sniper 1 for 2, Amags 1 for 2, and Martin Green goes 1 for 1. So we go 3 and 2 on the day, but that includes a plus 155 hit and a plus 120 hit. Not afraid to make the plus money plays here over at the Early Edge. Hopefully you're not afraid to hit the like button. Go ahead and do that right now. And let's just go ahead and bring in the stars of the show. We've got Buckets. We've got the Sniper, who has been up at all hours talking baseball on here on CBS Sports HQ, you name it. And there's Propstarz.
Copyright infringement, Buckets.
Yeah, what's going on there? Buckets, a lot going on. I got to get the mouse update. You clearly got a haircut. I don't know if you're turning over a new leaf with the hair since you actually beat me in the showdown 2 days ago. What's going on?
There's a lot going on in my life right now, Sia. It's a mess, and there's absolute chaos here. I brought pest control in. I said there's at least 2 of them in the bedroom, like take care of it. The guy was here for 30 minutes. He walked out. He goes, there's no mice here. The second he left and went back into his van, I opened it, and I saw the little fucker just running around going rampant. So the mice still have the bedroom. We're working on that. The head is shaved, Sia, and the reason the head is shaved is because I have recently been inspired by the Olympics, and I have decided that I'm going to become an Olympian myself. So I have to do a kind of new look, new me, that kind of thing while I prep for the Olympics.
Wow. Okay. Propstarz, is this going to interrupt the presidential campaign, Buckets and Proppy 2024?
Apparently it's suspended. It's also been very noisy upstairs, hearing Buckets training for the Olympics and all these rodents as well that have been running up and down my ceiling. So just trying to ignore all that noise up there.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of noise in the chat. Gipper's Picks has some UFC stuff. We had Brad Morris with some picks. Brandon Silva has some picks in here. Everybody check those picks out. I'm sure there's some that I missed as well. Sniper, I got to ask you, before we get into official picks, the White Sox made a change. Talk to us about that, your reaction.
Yeah, they fired manager Pedro Griffel. I don't think it really makes that big of a difference. They're still going to be one of the worst teams in baseball. The only thing is they're probably going to play a little bit better the rest of the season than they have this way just so far, just because they're on such a historically bad pace. And this being baseball, sometimes things tend to even out a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to play 500 the rest of the way or anything like that. They're still going to be awful. They're still going to lose 120, probably 121 or 122 games. But I don't think they're going to lose 21 in a row again or anything like that. Maybe the managerial change makes guys feel better in the clubhouse, because it seems like from some reports we saw, there were things that came out, such as he supposedly said, if you guys set the record for the most losses ever, it's all on you. Nothing's on me at all. That doesn't go over well. And now he denied it publicly, but it doesn't seem like that's the sort of thing that would get leaked unless he said it or unless the players felt like he said it. So I'm sure the players are happy that he's gone and they feel like they're going to play better. And as Crash Davis likes to say, if you think that's why you're playing better, then you are.
Yeah, fair enough. Nice ref. Buckets, go ahead.
Real quick here, I just want to say that if my plays miss today, it is not my fault. It is on you guys for tailing them incorrectly. It is never on me. Thank you.
Boy.
Buckets,
I like it.
That's a nice transition. By the way, I got a couple tweets yesterday that some people actually took my money line parlay, which ended up hitting. Speaking of the White Sox, they were winning that game against the A's. A's came back late, won the game. But that first leg of the Yankees doubleheader and the White Sox, I should say the A's parlay, that was even money or a little bit better than even money, that ended up hitting. So that's great. Let's see. Bradley Jacobs has a Europa League pick. I'm not going to try to pronounce that game, but it's the Ajax game. Both teams to score minus 154. Nice setup, Bradley Jacobs. Buckets, hopefully you have it a little bit more smooth for me with the names. You got a few picks. Let's go.
I know what team he's talking about. I also am not even going to try to pronounce that. And see, I have that one ending 1-1. So I like the BTTS look there as well. But I've got 3 plays for everyone here this afternoon. And we're going to start with Tempering Ilves taking on Djurgården, the classic matchup between Finland and Sweden here. And I'm looking at Tempering double chance, currently priced at minus 130. Tempering is having a ridiculous season. This is a team that the last 2 years were fighting for relegation. And now they have the most goals in their entire league in Finland right now. This is a team that specifically at home have been very problematic for a lot of sides. So I see Djurgården, who's probably the better side, being okay with that 1-1 draw, or maybe even being okay losing this 2-1 because they know they have that second leg at home. So double chance at -130 is a tremendous line for Temperin. Then in the second match, I'm going to the Europa League match between Molde FK and Cercle Brugge, and I'm taking Molde over 1.5 team total. Exact same reasoning as Temperin. I am focusing on teams that are really, really good, specifically at home, that need to make a big jump in this first leg because they know they're going to struggle in the second leg. Molde FK, one of those teams that for years now have been a Champions League and Europa League contender, and they are absolutely devastating when playing at home. Give me that team total at -135. And for our third and final play, we're mixing it up a little here. We're looking at FK Partizan Beograd. This could also be Partizan Belgrade, based on how your book wants to pronounce it, taking on FC Lugano. And we're taking the away team in this one. Lugano over 1.5 team total at +100. Beograd is a bit of a tricky team because in the last couple of years, they've done a lot of not great stuff. They got in trouble for match fixing. They've gone through 3 managers, and they've really struggled to find their identity as they start this new season in Serbia. In their last Champions League match, they lost to an aggregate score of 9-2. They lost the first match 6-2, and then they lost at home 3-0. This is a team that is struggling defensively, and Lugano are going to smell weakness in the water. We got to take that at plus odds.
Yeah, Buckets match fixing. That's not good, right? You're not supposed to do that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's not
good.
Good. I mean, it's just funny. You're like some bad stuff, here and there, including match fixing. Like that seems.
They had the wrong color Gatorade on the sideline. They didn't have enough towels. They cheated and rigged a bunch of little things,
All in the same ballpark. All about the same.
Yeah. All in the same realm, of course. We've got some more 28s. Dan Cummins says, is that the Dan Cummins that has the podcast? Is he in here? Does anybody know that podcast? It's actually pretty good. Josh Jacobs is in number 28. I think we had a Marshall Falk shout out maybe from the Maestro. He's in the chat. Ask him anything you want, including favorite numbers, apparently. Let's go to a favorite American, favorite track and field play. We're going way down the board here, at least from an odds standpoint. Men's 200-meter final. We're going with Kenny Bednarek at +700. That's later today. This is 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're taking a bit of a long shot, or I don't know, in the track and field circles, maybe this isn't a super long shot, but +700 to me, pretty long. Kenny Bednarek at +700 to win the men's 200-meter final. If you want to make that play or any play that you're about to hear, you can go to BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get to Propstarz pick. We're going to MLB, and we're gonna throw in after Propstarz. We're gonna throw in, of course, more baseball, but some NFL preseason. I'm going to remind you what my first round leader picks are because the Wyndham has been delayed to 3:00 today, but odds are it's going to be delayed even further, which does impact a lot of different things. We're going to hear all about it right after this message from our partners. We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM. Jason Pogba says, take Serbia plus the points. USA will win, but won't cover the big number. Bradley Jacobs, a shout out to Buckets here. He says that Lugano match should be filled with goals. Buckets, he's going to tail. Like the endorsement there. And SportsLine, the SportsLine account is saying, drop your NFL future locks. I like that call out because we've been talking futures on the SportsLine channel. It's in your feed. It's in your podcast feed or the YouTube feed. A lot of futures talk in both college and NFL that SportsLine not only is taken care of in your feeds, but also at sportsline.com. Don't forget to join there if you're not already. All right, Propstarz, we go to baseball. This Dean Kramer fellow, a little bit better than I thought he'd be this season. Personally, I'm kind of an Orioles guy, so I'm always kind of rooting for him, but today, we're not necessarily rooting for him to have a great game.
Indeed, Sia. We are fading the aforementioned Dean Kramer, going under 17.5 pitching outs. Fewer than 6 innings pitched for Kramer. Big number for him, regardless of the opponent. He's been under this in 11 of 15 starts this season. Honestly, if we go back and look at his body of work historically, it's also a big number for him. Over 70% of his starts as an Oriole, he's been held under this line. His career starts facing a Blue Jays offense that's beginning to show some signs of life. Vlad Guerrero Jr. playing excellent baseball right now. The Blue Jays have been scoring some runs here. So much like Trevor Rogers yesterday, which we faded as well, I think this number honestly should be 15.5, 16.5 at the most. 17.5 I don't think will last very long. I think this ultimately closes at 16.5. So a very good spot to fade D. Kramer. Honestly, regardless of the opponent here, I'd be leaning under. But the Blue Jays in Toronto, they've been playing better baseball. I think it's a very good spot to fade Dean Kramer to go under 17.5 pitching outs.
Okay, love the play. We've got some NFL futures. Eric Aguilar says Vikings under 6.5 wins, and Brad Moore says Jalen Waddle over 1,000.5 season receiving yards. He's been over 1,000 each of his last 3 years so far, even with his minor injuries. So Brad Moore, so that's actually I think a pretty good call out on Jalen Waddle. That offense should continue to be explosive. Cowboys under 10.5 wins from Farzad. I love that one. I honestly. Yeah, I think I might have drafted that in our futures draft. So I like that play. Farzad. Buckets, go ahead before I give out my FRLs.
See, you know I'm not the type of guy to go off topic or to change the subject randomly much, but I've got a real quick question for you and for chat. If a flower on in a vase has mold on it, is that a throw it away, or is this like a nature doing its thing kind of deal?
Wow. Sniper, you want to grab that one?
Not really.
That's a lot of mold on this.
At least get it outside. If you get it outside, who cares?
I feel like
it's in a vase. It's like a decoration thing.
Buckets, we need to hire somebody to come in and check on you once every couple of weeks.
He needs a life coach.
Yeah, just to do a sweep of the facility of the place and just make sure everything is in good order. Larry Hartstein says Eagles are winning the NFC East. I completely agree with that. Alex, I assume you agree with that as well. I think that's a near lock. So I like that futures
Hold
call.
on.
Well, go ahead, Sniper.
Brian in the chat said that means you need to eat it, Buckets, and I agree. It's ripe.
I'll think about it.
Good stuff. All right. Well, while you ponder that, I do want to remind everybody, the SportsLine account retweeted this last night, but I do want to remind everybody who my first-round leaders are. So I took 6 first-round leaders, which is 1 or 2 more than I normally do. I had 2 AM guys and 4 PM guys. And I said in my tweet that I was leaning to the PM guys. I also said in a subtweet to that you can kind of wait to see when they actually go off. These numbers aren't going to change dramatically, although book to book, these numbers, are a little bit different. But my larger point is these are numbers that you can wait on. They think they may resume at 3:00. This does look like a washout completely for Thursday, and Friday might be a problem too. And that's why I favor the PM wave, because the later those PM guys, in theory, it was the Thursday PM guys, like the afternoon guys, they are probably going to get pushed to Friday afternoon, if not Saturday morning, in terms of finishing their round or maybe even starting their round. So with all that said, that's when the weather starts to lighten up, and that's why I favored the PM guys. There is some volatility with that take. Obviously, those PM guys could potentially be out in bad conditions, but I do want to point out, if you want to just get rid of the AM guys and only focus on the PM guys, the 2 AM guys here, if memory serves, are Cam Davis at 65-1 and Matt Kuchar at 90-1. Again, I have a PM AM kind of split here in terms of where I think the advantage might be. You may want to consider that for DFS as well. But again, the later this gets pushed back for everybody, the more it's probably going to even out for everybody as well. But again, the AM guys, again, I say AM kind of in air quotes because now the time has come and gone. But Cam Davis and Matt Kuchar are the guys that are going out first, whereas Billy Horschel, Jonathan Vegas, JJ Spawn, Thomas Dietrich are going out later. They're going to be the second wave out whenever this tournament ends up starting. Now I'm going to get into my actual take for tonight. I'm going to the preseason. Now, listen, I think Mike McClure spelled this out really well last week when we dabbled in the preseason. He said, I think his take was he only puts, and I might be misquoting him here, 0.2 units versus like a full unit on these preseason games because there's obviously there's not a science to it necessarily. I think a lot of people think they have an angle, and they may. But in this particular case, this is certainly not a full unit play for me, maybe a half a unit play for me. I do like the Giants, though, -1.5 in the first half. I'm going with the first half here. I'm always going to be focused on the quarterbacks. They're playing the Lions. Now, we know the Lions aren't playing any starters. I don't think the Giants are going to play many starters either. But when you look at the backup quarterbacks for the Giants compared to what the Lions are going to trot out with Hooker and Luton, I really like Tommy DeVito here. He's going to be the backup to Drew Lock. I don't know how much either of those two are going to play, but I do think those are the class of the quarterbacks for the group. So I hate to lay a 1.5 here in a first half, because you could see a tie score in a preseason game. But I will say this. Both of these coaches have been playing in the last two preseasons. The over's been coming in. So I do think some points are going to be scored in this game. I don't think these teams are going to hesitate to throw it down the field, especially since these quarterbacks have something to prove. And these receivers, like you look at the Giants receiver group, there's a lot of those secondary receivers that have something to prove as well, particularly for the New York Giants. So I like the Giants in this one, -1.5 first half. Again, my focus here is on the quarterbacks more than anything else. A lot of other narrative building I could go into, but I'll just keep it at that for now. Give me the Giants first half -1.5 at -115. All right. That's some NFL preseason for you. Listen, if you've been following the Giants practices with the Lions, you know it's been pretty heated. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out. This might be an actual exciting preseason game to watch, again, in the first half only, perhaps. But Sniper, we got a couple of baseball picks. You were 1 for 2 yesterday, but you've been really on fire, which is incredible because you're up at all hours of the night. So I don't know how you're pumping out all these great picks with all the great content here and on CBS Sports HQ and other platforms, including your writing work. So props to you. Speaking of props, do we have any today?
Thank you. Yes, I am going to get to one. I'm going to start with a play on the Reds, though. I'm going to go with the Reds on the run line to win by 2. I like that they lost yesterday here because this was a 4-game series in Miami against the Marlins. Awfully tough to take all 4, even against a horrible Marlins team. So that the Marlins won yesterday means the Reds are going to get 3 out of 4 today. I like that spot. I especially like it because Hunter Green is on the hill. Hunter Green's been amazing. 0.48 ERA in his last 6 games, 1.94 ERA this season on the road. That's the entire season. 10 starts, 1.94 road ERA. The Marlins offense is awful. They scored 6 runs last night, which means it's time to give a little back tonight. And I don't think Kyle Tyler and the Marlins' awful bullpen, or what's left of it, because they traded Tanner Scott and some others in front of the trade deadline, I don't think they're going to be much in the way of resistance for this Reds offense, especially with Ellie De La Cruz going as well as he's been going. So a multiple run win by the Reds is the most likely scenario here. So I'm good to lay the -120. We're not going to have any juice on this prop play. This is going to be a big time plus money. I saw it at +200. I'm going to go Aaron Judge over 1.5 walks. I know it's a tall order to get 2 walks in a game from anybody. Judge has walked 20 times in his last 13 games, 3 walks in 9 plate appearances yesterday. He's probably going to get 4, maybe 5 plate appearances today. And the one that stood out to me was the Angels walked him with nobody on base and a 3-run lead in the 9th yesterday. So that tells me that if it's a competitive game at all, the Angels are not going to pitch to Aaron Judge. They're going to make somebody else beat them, especially if, for example, Juan Soto is not on base in front of him. A lefty is on the mound today, Tyler Anderson. If he somehow keeps Juan Soto off base, he's not going to pitch to Aaron Judge at all. And Anderson is walk prone anyway. So I like Judge to get to 2 walks today. And if it gets there, we've got our +200 payday.
Love it. I love the take on Aaron Judge. Interesting take. I mean, I love that you're looking for stuff like that, especially at +200, because it looks to me like pretty nice value. Bradley Jacobs has something to say, Buckets. He says, mold on his flowers and mold in his sports books. Buckets covering all angles. Love that. I'm looking for potentially, as I scroll, John says, if you were to take 1 to 2 first-round leaders, who do you like most? Okay, that's a pretty good question, because I know people don't want to, and I tried to kind of tell you can throw out the AM guys if you want to. So you could almost narrow it to 4. But JJ Spawn, I can't remember what that number was. I don't know, Jake, if you want to flash that up there. But JJ Spawn at that really long number, 110 to 1. At some books, that's going to be, let's see, we got 110 to 1. I think I'm trying to remember which book that was, but some books have that at like 90 to 1 or even 80 to 1. JJ Spawn, from a value standpoint, probably my favorite. My second favorite would probably be, if I could give you three, it would be Billy Horschel at 50-1, Thomas Dietrich at 70-1, and JJ Spawn at 110-1. Again, that's going to vary by 10 to 20 points depending on the book you go to. But Billy, Dietrich, and JJ Spawn, those are my three favorites. Thanks for asking, because again, I know people, especially with the first round leader market, which can be super volatile. You don't necessarily want to sprinkle on 6 guys. You might want to sprinkle on 2 to 3. So those would probably be my favorites. Looking for more 28s. Tomorrow we get into 27. I hope you guys bring your favorite 27s. I'm going to go super obscure. All right. I think that's enough. Buckets, did we miss anything soccer-wise in the chat that you needed to update us on or answer any questions?
No, I think we're all good on my end.
Okay. Propstarz, did you see anything? Good. Okay. Sniper, go ahead.
Where was it? David asked, what about David Peterson under 5.5 strikeouts in Coors Field? Maybe he could get knocked around by the Rockies, and the Mets definitely want to win the game so they could pull the plug. The Rockies strike out a ton, though. So it's kind of a stay away from me. I was also going to mention some of the other leans that I had. I was going to look at Jackson Holiday props because he's been absolutely on fire ever since he came up from the minors, which I believe I mentioned that he probably would be now that he got more seasoning. I was looking at the Padres team total over. The offense is going so well right now. They're hitting everybody. Pirates bullpen is very, very thin. They just had the extra innings game last night. Those were two of the other. What was the other one? Tyler Fitzgerald of the Giants. He's been absolutely killing lefties. The Nats send DJ Hurst left-hander to the hill as well. That is coming up in about 2 hours.
All right. And Sean Brown caps our number 28 rendition with Fred Taylor days away. Fred Taylor's one of those guys that gets forgotten about a lot, but was a really, really good player. So I really like the shout out for those like sort of second tier guys that don't really show up in the conversations like they should. All right, let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. I've got the Giants NFL preseason tonight. Giants first half -1.5. Again, that's a first half play, -1.5 at -115. Buckets, Tamperine, double chance, -130. Mold on his flowers and on his sports book. Mold team total over 1.5, -135. And Lugano team total over 1.5 at +100. Propstarz, Dean Kramer under 17.5 outs, -120. Sniper, Reds -1.5 at -120. And Aaron Judge over 1.5 walks at +200. Our SportsLine pick, we're going deep here. Kenny Bednarik +700 for the men's 200-meter final. That's at 2:30 today. By the way, I did put it in the chat. I misspoke. It's not Luton as one of the 2 quarterbacks on the other side of my bet. Of course, it's Nate Sudfeld with Herndon Hooker. So keep that in mind as well. Doesn't really change the analysis at all. Just wanted to clear that up. A lot of these backup quarterbacks changing teams, you kind of never know where they are, like Drew Lock on the Giants. Actually, I think that's a really good pickup now that I think about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a great show. Thank you to the chat for hitting the like button, for being in here, for participating. Think of your number 27s tomorrow. I can't believe we're that close to NFL season. On behalf of Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 9s and 10s, the Sniper, Buckets, and his new haircut, and all the mice, and his flower with mold. There's so much going on over there. And of course, Propstarz. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge. Have a great Thursday, everybody. We rest our case.